Kashmir, and Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so this is Shimla. So it covers this entire upper region of our country. You will get the specimens of the collections here in Shimla from all these regions. Okay, in the same way, this is the another center which is at Dehradun. This is India's second largest herbarium. Oh, sorry. This is BSI's one of the oldest herbarium, and 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 near this BSI Dehradun we have another herbarium called herbarium of India, that also harbors a lot of collection. They have around 2.7 lakh specimens. Okay, so this center, the Dehradun Center, or the acronym is BSD, it has the responsibility to explore the Punjab, Haryana, and Uttarakhand, and to document and preserve the specimens. Right? In the same way, all these different regional centers, they have, so as they have been indicated by different colors here, so they are responsible to explore and to document the flora of India in these different states or regions. Okay, so for example, if you are going to Meghalaya, or if you are going to Tamil Nadu, for example, then you will consult the herbarium of BSI Coimbatore. BSI Coimbatore is in Tamil Nadu, and earlier this entire region was the presidency of Madras, right? Earlier means before independence. Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and this entire region was the presidency of Madras, and that is why it has the acronym MH, the Madras Herbarium, because that was the only. So this is the only herbarium in Madras presidency. It has the collection from Lakshadweep, from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Goa as well. Okay, so all these different regional centers, they have responsibility to explore that particular region. And why I'm again and again repeatedly saying the same thing, because to make you understand that if you have any query or if you have any specimen which is in that area, then which region or which herbarium, which regional center you have to visit. Okay, so this is the entire system of Botanical Survey of India, where they are connected with each other. They are doing research, they are doing exploration in association with all other institutions. The headquarters of Botanical Survey of India is in Calcutta, and our, our oldest herbarium is CNH, which is at BSI Calcutta, that is Central National Herbarium. This is our oldest herbarium. It has collections from entire India. So now, according to the new rules of Ministry of Environment, now we have to submit at least a single copy of our collections to CNH, to Central National Herbarium, because that is the depository, that is the repository of flora of India. As I told you in the beginning, that people or the scientists from Botanical Survey of India, they are working on documenting the flora of India. Okay, so after this, the next thing which you have to consider is the weather forecast. So when you are going, if you are going in a particular season, you have to look for the weather forecast so that you can plan your trip accordingly, you can plan your journey accordingly. If you are going to a region, for example, if you are going to for example, what do you call, let's take example of Meghalaya. Let's say we are going to Meghalaya, okay, and we are going to Meghalaya or Arunachal Pradesh, then you must be aware that in the seasons of July, August and September, majorly in August and September, we see a heavy rainfall there, right? So in that case, you must know, you must see the forecast so that you can plan you can plan accordingly, and you can pack your bags accordingly. Because wherever you are going, if I say you are going to a rainforest, you must have hat, you must have umbrella with you, you must have boots with you, because it is very important to look at the geographical location. So if you are going to a rainforest, then definitely there are lots of animals as well. You may encounter leech as well, which is a very common animal which is present in rainforest, and it affects us some way. So when we are planning anywhere, as I told you, if you're planning to desert, if you're planning to mountains, if you're planning to alpine zone, and if you're planning to western ghats, you have to look that region, you have to look the geography, you have to look for the weather, you have to look for the flora and fauna as well. So all precautions we have to take, because it is not necessary that you will accompanied by someone at every time. Why I'm saying this? Because we work in two different scenarios. If you are, for example, if you are a student, you are going for an excursion, then definitely you will be accompanied by your teachers, and your teachers are expert in this. So in that case, they will suggest you, they will guide you, they will, okay, they will take care of everything. But when you are a scientist, or if you are a researcher, and if you are passed out, you have done your PhD now, and now you are working on something, and you are going with permission to somewhere, or even if that region is not restricted, and if you are going alone, then also it is very important to take care of all these things, right? So that is why it is important to know about the weather forecast. After this, we have some rules to visit some localities, okay, and that rules, they are made by National Biodiversity Authority. I will discuss them briefly. So you should know what are the rules and what we should take care of. As I always and I repeatedly am saying, that we need permission to visit areas. We need permission to collect specimens. So what are these? Let me show you some examples from this website of NBA, so that you can also read them, you can search them, you can explore them. And when it is your time, when you are going and when you are planning, you can actually follow these rules. Okay. Is my screen visible to you guys now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the portal of National Biodiversity Authority. So we have this authority which regulates everything, which regulates all kinds of permissions, and NBA is the main agency which has lots of state biodiversity boards. So every state has a different biodiversity board, and that board is directly controlled by National Biodiversity Authority. Okay, and this authority has made some rules. So if you are going to visit a particular area, then definitely you have to follow these rules. So I am going to discuss some from a company, right? So in and also it is very important to take permission, because sometimes it becomes very troublesome if you are taking sample from a reserve area, or if you are taking sample of it, or if you are taking some material of that plant which is very important, or if the plant is comes under RET category, if it is comes under rare, endangered and threatened category, then also it is very important. Okay, so what are these guidelines are? These guidelines, so this is an extraordinary gazette of India which is suggesting you. So this is the gazette or the notification from Ministry of Environment. This is the rule of 2014, as I just suggested. So according to this rule, what is the procedure for access to biological resource or associated traditional knowledge for research or biosurvey and bioutilization for research? So if you are doing research, if you are a scholar, if you are a research scholar, then also you must take permission. So any person referred to under subsection 2 of subsection 3 of the Act, and the Act is National or the Biological Diversity Act 2002. Okay, all these things they are come under the Biodiversity Act 2002. Who intends to have access to biological resource or associated traditional knowledge for research or biosurvey and bioutilization for research shall apply to National Biodiversity Authority in Form 1, and okay, I will show you the forms as well later, of the Biological Diversity Rules 2004. So they were amended in 2004 actually, for obtaining access to such biological resource or associated knowledge occurring in India. I hope now this is very clear to you, that this is according to the law. You have to take permission from NBA. Okay, the NBA shall, on being satisfied with the application under sub-regulation, it enter into a benefit sharing agreement with the applicant, which shall be deemed as grant of approval for access to biological resource for research referred to in that sub-regulation. Uh, so the thing is, if NBA grant you the permission, and if you are taking the sample for research, then you must acknowledge NBA and Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change for its support in your research article or paper. It is necessary to acknowledge. It is why necessary, because they supported you by giving you the permission. Okay, so they should aware, they should know, because whenever you will mention the name of ministry or the National Biodiversity Authority, they will track it, and when they will track it, they have your application number, they have your application details, they can cross check, they can verify that yes, you have taken this sample for research purpose, and now you have completed your research and you have acknowledged the agency. Provided that in case of biological resource having high economic value, the agreement may contain a clause to the effect that the benefit sharing shall include an upfront payment by applicant. Because if it comes under commercial, uh, if it has any commercial value, then obviously you have to follow the rules to pay some amount to the agency to give you the permission to have that resource. Okay, and for example, if you are going there and without permission you are collecting something, and if they know that you have collected something, and then they can ask you why you are collecting it, and if you are saying that we are researchers and we are doing it for the academic or research purposes, but the thing is, how they will believe you? You could be a member of any company, you could be a researcher from any company who is working on something, or in any case they may say that you are from and you are working from some foreign based company, you are taking our knowledge, our intellectual property, and you are okay, you are just sharing our wealth with other people, or with people of other land. In that case we have different rules. NBA has different rules. Okay, because it is the matter of intellectual property. You cannot even share a single leaf or single fragment of leaf from India without permission, because that also includes that single or that small fragment of leaf. It has DNA information, and that DNA information has lots of stuff, right? So everything has been monitored, and that is why we always suggest people to follow the guidelines, follow the rules. Okay, because if in any case, if the agency will suspend or they may debar your authority, your license to do research, to perform any scientific research, they have all the rights if you violate their rules, right? So the procedure for access to biological resource, there are different modes, there are different procedures to access the biological resource, even for the research purpose, for commercial utilization, and all others, right? I will share the link of this gazette. You can go through this. You can keep a copy of this rules and regulations with you, so that whenever you plan, whenever you go somewhere with some intentions to collect some plant or to visit any restricted area, then you can ask for the permission from the agency. So as I told you that this is the matter of IPR. See, they have a procedure for obtaining IPRs. So they have all these details, and why this is important, because people miss this part when they plan any excursion, when they plan any this kind of activity where they need some specimen from field, right? Because all the forest, all the land, it is the property of government of India, right? And if we follow that rule, this property belongs to government of India. That means all the biological material, all the resources, they are the properties of government of India. In that case, we have to take permission, as I told you. Even if you are sharing seats with somebody, let me tell you a very good example. It could be a, so let's take this and as a hypothetical example. For example, there is somebody who is working on something, okay, and coincidentally some other researcher is working on the same thing. And if that person asks for a favor from this man, or from this researcher who is in India, and the other guy who was working on the same thing is in from some other, from some other nation, and if he asks the favor from that man to give him some or few seeds of that particular plant, and if this researcher of India, if he or she shares that knowledge without the approval of National Biodiversity Authority, then this is the direct violation of the Biological Diversity Act, which suggests that you cannot share the wealth or the knowledge or the resources without the prior permission of the National Biodiversity Authority, right? So, so there are so we have these rules, and every explorer must go through these rules. Okay, I'll share the link along with my presentation for this session. Okay, and apart from this, I would like to show you some other stuff from NBA. And okay, so first of all, I would like to ask you whether all this information, all these things, is it making any sense to you? Are you guys getting what I'm trying to convey these things?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
All
sir.
Yes.
right,
Yes,
great,
sir.
Yes, sir.
great. So, okay, these are the rules. Okay, so let's go back here. So we have some forms. So you can get the access of these forms from the website of NBA, right? When you're applying, for example, if you are, so see, who should apply, what is the application fee, and what is the purpose of the application, and according to the purpose and who is applying, we have different forms, right? For example, form 1 is for non-Indian NRI, foreign entity or Indian entity having non-Indian participation in share capital or management. So if they are from some other land, then they have to fill form 1. And why and what is the purpose of application is to access of biological resource occurring in or obtained from India or associated traditional knowledge for research, commercial utilization, biosurvey or bioutilization. For that, they have to fill form 1. And let me tell you one thing very clearly: when it comes to traditional knowledge, that has a lot of things. Let me tell you that there are lots of medicines which has been made on the basis of traditional knowledge, right? As I told you yesterday, that earlier there were no doctors. There were tribes, there were people who were exploring and experimenting with the plants which are growing in their surrounding areas, and on the basis of their extraction or their decoction or something, they have learned gradually that which plant can be used to treat what particular disease. And that information, that traditional knowledge, is important in making different drugs. So that is why the NBA has introduced traditional knowledge in this as well. We have seen lots of cases of biopiracy in history. We have seen that, we know that we Indians, we are using turmeric, we are using as a directa indica or the neem since time immemorial. We are using them as an antioxidants or as an antimicrobial, है ना? So we are using them since so long, and when people will try to take the traditional knowledge, people will try to make some drugs and they try to get patent out of them, patent of that thing, then this is very, disappointing for us. In that case, government has established a, a different setup which is called traditional knowledge digital library, that works along with all these agencies under Ministry of Environment and Forest, because all these things deals with the intellectual or traditional knowledge of India, right? In the same way, for example, if you are a researcher or right, uh, okay. So if you would like to transfer the results of your research, if you have done any research and you would like to transfer the results of research, then also you must take the permission from NBA. This is for any Indian or non-Indian or entity to any non-Indian or NRI, foreign entity or Indian entity having non-Indian participation in share capital or management. For example, if somebody has taken the permission and if they would like to transfer that knowledge, they would like to transfer the results of their research with somebody else for the commercial purpose or other, they have to take permission from NBA again, because NBA has given the permission to that particular group or that particular company or that particular person only. Okay, and that's how we have lots of, you know these platforms to work on. For example, we have Form C, deposition of microorganisms in non-Indian repository for claim of novel species, and that is only to the Indian scientists and researchers. Okay, here you have the form which you can fill. You can submit it to the NBA, and they can solve this issue. But if you're working with Ministry of Environment and Forest, if you're working under any agency which is under the Ministry of Environment and Forest, then you don't have to pay the money, right? So in that case, NBA supports it, because NBA also comes under MOEFFCC, that is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. I hope this is clear to you now.
सर ये फॉर्म फिल करने के लिए कोई क्वालिफिकेशंस या एलिजिबिलिटी चाहिए या फिर कोई भी इंडियन अप्लाई कर सकता है?
So anybody who is a researcher, anybody who is working on them, they can. And even if you are not a researcher, even if you are uh, not a scientist or something, but if you are the part of any company which is dealing with, or for example, if you are a manager at some company, some pharmaceutical company, and you would like to explore you would like to take permission, sorry, if you would like to take some specimen from the field, then you have to apply, you have to take permission, okay, on behalf of the company.
सर ये तो बोटेनिकल सेक्टर से रिलेटेड ही कोई पर्सन है, अगर इस सेक्टर से रिलेटेड ही ना हो कोई, मतलब नॉर्मल एक इंडियन हो, स्टूडेंट हो, या फिर आर्ट्स का भी स्टूडेंट हो, अगर वो करना चाहे आगे, तो वो ऐसे ले सकता है परमिशन?
Yes, yes, they can, but in that case you have to tell the reason. In the form will have that column, the purpose of collecting that specimen. There is a column in that form, okay. So you have to fill the purpose, that why you would like to take that sample, okay.
ओके सर.
All right, so we will move ahead and we will come back to the question answer session after my presentations will over. And okay, so after this we have another thing which is called inner line permit. Apart from taking permission from NBA or other state biodiversity boards or the forest department of that particular state, apart from that we have some other permissions as well. Permission to visit the state. I don't know how many of you are aware of inner line permit, but let me tell you that there is a procedure which is called, or there is a permission which is called inner line permit. This inner line permit is a permit to enter into these states. And this permission is for Indians only. Okay, because foreigners they cannot enter into these states. So this permit is for Indians, for the citizens of India. So they have to take inner line permit. This permit is actually restrict the entry of people from other areas of India to enter into these states. Okay, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, and Lakshadweep. These 5 states or UTs, they have this procedure. They have this inner line permit. If you want to visit these states, you have to take inner line permit. Okay, so where are these states? You know, Arunachal Pradesh is here, adjacent to Bhutan and to Assam, right? This is Arunachal Pradesh. If you want to visit this region, you have to take permission. You have to take permission from the concerned home ministry of that particular state, the Ministry of Home Affairs. You have to apply for that. They will give you the inner line permit only after going through the application, that why you would like to go there. And let me tell you, foreigners are strictly not allowed in these states, and that is why this permit has been given to Indians only. If they wish to go to that region, then they need inner line permit, and this is for only the non-residents of these states. Okay, and at every so if you don't have the inner line permit, then the security agencies, they won't allow you to enter into the state. So every way, on every highway or the state roads or everywhere, these people from security agencies are there, and they will check your details, they will check your ID proof, they will check your inner line permit, and only then they can allow you to enter into the state. Okay, this happens. I'm just telling you that this is the protocol. You simply cannot just book a flight and go to that particular region. The thing is, you must take inner line permit. Arunachal Pradesh followed by Nagaland, which is again it is adjacent to Assam and Arunachal and some part of Arunachal Pradesh and the surrounding country. Then Manipur and Mizoram. So all these 4 states, they are having this inner line permit. We have to take inner line permit to visit these states. Okay, so it is very important. We have Lakshadweep Islands here. So from anywhere, if you would like to go to Lakshadweep, you must take inner line permit, right? So inner line permit is very important document to visit these states. For example, if you have planned everything, but you forget to take inner line permit, in that case, The security agencies, they won't allow you to enter into the state, and in that case you will have to come back from that particular border, right? So very important part, very important part. And apart from taking inner line permit from these states, you also need to take permission from the forest departments of these particular states as well to visit their areas. Okay, so all right, now you have, if you get the permission, that's fine. If you did not get the permission, then obviously you have to try again the next season or the next time somewhere. And if you get the permission, then this is our time to get ready to pack our bags. And in this case, important thing is what all things you should have in your bag. So first of all, we will discuss about the toolkit. Toolkit are professional kit which we are taking with us to the field. Okay, and in that toolkit we should have all these things. We should have collection bag. The collection bags are, they are some polythene bags as well. They are of very big size. You collect specimens in that bag, that is the collection bag. You will have to take zip pouches to collect specimens, to collect leaflets for the DNA samples, to collect some other samples. Okay, you will have to take silica gel to dry the leaf samples to okay, so that the fungal or bacterial or pathogens, they can't infect that, they or that leaf or that or anything which you have collected, whether it is a leaf or a fruit or anything. So it won't spoil, it will not get infected by anything. You will take newspapers, or these, even if you will not take newspapers with you, you can take newspapers from that region, from the local shops, from the locality where you are going. Why we need newspapers? We will need newspapers to blot dry these specimens. For example, if you are going to any rainforest, then obviously you need to dry all your specimens collected every day. You have to change these blotting sheets or the newspaper. We are using newspapers to blot dry because they are economical and they're easily available everywhere. You don't have to carry them with you. It is not necessary every time. So you can take these newspapers from any market in that local area. So we need something to blot dry the specimens, and in that case I personally prefer newspapers because they're economical and easily available. Okay, you have to keep on changing them every after 18 to 24 hours. You have to change them to avoid any kind of infection, right? Then we will need some fixatives like FAA, which is the mixture of formaldehyde, alcohol, and acetic acid. We'll need formaldehyde so that we can, so the leaf will not shed from the stem or the twig which we have taken. It will arrest all these things. There it is, in that particular state only. We will need 70% alcohol so that we can preserve the specimens, because we need to transfer the specimen from formaldehyde, from FAA, to 70% alcohol for long-term preservation. For example, if you are collecting flowers, for example, if you have collected flowers of any particular plant and if you want to preserve those flowers for further studies, then you must preserve those flowers or seeds or anything in 70% alcohol, right? You will need some reagent bottles of 30 ml and 60 ml so that you can preserve these, you can put this alcohol or formaldehyde in them, and you can preserve the flowers or other parts which are important for your studies. You must take field book. Field book is one of the most important component. Field book is a kind of diary which has some numbers and which has some, some columns or some data which you need to fill during your field visit. Whatever plant you are collecting, whatever thing you are collecting, you have to mention, you have to write down about that plant in that field book, that you have collected this plant from this location at this time on this date. And that plant is having these particular features or characters. So you have to mention all the details, you have to document all the details in the field book. Okay, so and this is very important component of your toolkit. Apart from these things, we have some technological stuffs and some other instruments which includes camera to click pictures of that plant in field, because when you will preserve the plant, they may lose the pigments, they may lose the colorful pigments, right? So in that case you will have photographs. so that you can support the data that yes, this plant was having blue color or pink color or white color. Because once you will dry them, then definitely they are, that pigment, the plants will lose those pigments. And if you treat them with alcohol, then obviously leaching, or that pigments will leach out in the blotting sheets, and that's how they won't be colorful for a longer time. So you need camera to record all the details, to record the geography, to record the habitat of that plant, to record flowers and fruits or all other things. Okay, so camera is important. Then you need GPS. GPS has its own importance, because when you will go into the field, there are 50-50 chance that your device, your mobile or your smartphone may or may not get signals. In that case, GPS is the device which actually can help us to come out from the forest to record the location. Because these days we are using geotags to our plants or the collections, right? We take the coordinates of that place from where we are collecting the specimens, so that we can mention it in our data book, in our field book, that if that plant is novel, if that plant is unique, if that plant is a rediscovery, or the plant is like, okay, this is an important, or anything, for anything, you must take the geo coordinate, the coordinates of that location, so that if anybody wants to visit that place, or in fact you would like to visit that place in future, then you can come to that place directly with the help of those GPS coordinates. Okay. And sometimes obviously we prefer, and I also suggest people to use the actual GPS instead of GPS of your mobile phone, because you know that mobile phone works on the cellular towers, right? The cellular signals, but the GPS work on satellite signals, and that is why we prefer to have GPS in field. Okay, it works on the battery, but it works with the satellite. It will give you the correct direction. If, for example, if you are going to the forest and you just lost somewhere, and if you're alone and you don't know, though there are techniques to enter into a forest to come out from that forest as well, there are techniques. So all these techniques can be explained and teach in the practical class only, but for now I'm just suggesting you to have a GPS with you. Then you should have secateurs with you. A secateur is a pruner or a device which you use to cut the twigs of these specimens so that you can collect them. Then you will have you must carry the herbarium press so that you can press these specimens in field or in the evening after your collection session is over, so that the plants can be pressed in their original form. Okay. Then you need some basic things like forceps, needle, hand lens, and sometimes we need a rope with us, and portable knife also to cut the twigs, sometimes to cut fruits and other things. Okay, sometimes it helps. After this, this is an example of the label, which so these are the basic information which is present in the field book, or we note down in the field book. We note down the collection number, we note down the date of collection, we note down the family or the name if we know that family name, and if we don't know the botanical name, then we can write the vernacular name or the local name or the common name from that locality. Okay, so that if you have visited that place, what is the locality you have visited, the locality, you can write the vernacular name or the common name of that locality here, and then we can obviously write the botanical name once you will identify that plant. Then this is important, the latitude, longitude and altitude. All this data you can get from the GPS, right? You can get the latitude and longitude coordinates, you can fill them. So now why we need these information today, because it is, so now we have technology, we can use these geotags. You can in fact, you can in fact tag your plants on Google Earth or somewhere on this type of platform, where you can easily detect or you can share the knowledge with people that okay, this is the coordinate, you can simply place these coordinates in your map and you can reach up to there, right? So these are important. Then you write the locality from where you have collected the, okay, and who have collected this, who identified in the field notes. Field note includes what was the color of that flower, how it was flowering, and in which season it was flowering. Okay, what was the pattern of the leaf, the shape of the leaf, or some other things or other important points which you would like to mention here. Then you can mention them in the field notes. Okay, so after this we have, so these are the representations of things you can have. So this is the cicature. which is the device which we use to cut or to prune these specimens or these twigs. These are the 60 or 30 ml bottle or other size of reagent bottles. We use zip pouches. We use camera. This is the GPS. This is a simple example of GPS. Okay, because GPS will connect to the satellite and it will give you the correct directions. We use this hand lens, and if you don't get this type of hand lens, then obviously you can take the classic hand lens as well to look for the characters, to make notes in your field book, to write about the characters. Okay, about the stigma or the flower, or any, if there are hairs on the surface of flower or the fruit, or the leaf, then you can mention these things in your field notes. So this is a typical herbarium press we tie with this with the belts, and this is how we actually use the herbarium press in field, right? We use some newspapers and cardboard. So every cardboard, we will put a newspaper on that cardboard, followed by a specimen which we have just collected. Okay, and that specimen should be covered in the newspaper, and then again we put a cardboard over there. So in that form, we simply press. We simply put pressure. We press them, and when we press them with the help of herbarium press, they will press like this, and then we can mount them on specimen sheets or the herbarium sheets. Okay, so this is an important part of your excursion, to bring your samples without damage or without any infection back to your lab, so that you can make herbarium and you can work on them. Okay, so this is basic things. And obviously when you get the permission, all you have prepared your toolkit, you have prepared everything. Now the time to travel. And when you travel, when you start your traveling, this is important to make a blueprint of your travel. You should know, or you have to decide that by which transport mode you would like to go. Whether, if that place is far away from your place, then obviously you can go with either by air or by train or by any other mode. So you have to decide the mode of transport from your location to that state or that place, or the nearby place of your locality. Okay, you can book for any hotels or any kind of dormitory or anything for your accommodation. You also have to search about the local transport, that if you are reaching that particular city or that particular area by train or by air, then how you would travel to that forest or that particular area, right? In order to make the blueprint, you have to go through all possible, or all which is possible and convenient for you. You have to take that transport mechanism. You have to note down all these things in your diary, so that you won't get confused after reaching that place, right? If you are going to a place where language is a barrier, or it could be a barrier, then you must consult or you must contact somebody in that area to provide you a local support, because local support is very important when it comes to visiting any area, any outskirts area, or from anywhere. If you are not from that region, then definitely you will need a local guide there, who can who can tell you about the ways, who can tell you about the paths, the forest, and also can help you in translating the language if you don't know the language, right? So in that case, you must have the locals with you, or you must have contacts with them, so that the language won't be a problem for you. So that's how you can reach up to that place. You can decide the transportation, by which transport mechanism you would like to travel. You have to book your accommodation in advance for every place you, because when you are traveling somewhere, you have to book, you have to manage the arrangements, to book the accommodation. You have to contact the locals. If you don't have any local contact, then obviously you can connect with any government agency in that region, so that they can help you. Even you can contact with the forest department of that region, that we are coming to this region and we have taken the permission, but we are having some language issues, or we don't know the language or the local language of that area. So if forest department can help you, in that case, forest department help you with providing few security personals with you, or the guides. Okay, or there are lots of things. For example, I don't know whether people have heard about it. So there are participatory forest management. In that case, the Department of Forest, along with locals, they are helping to conserve the forest. They may contact their forest management officials at the local level, and they can support you. So there are okay. So in this way, you can reach or you can plan your excursion. So all these things are important to note down, to follow, and to proceed with your plans. Right? So now this is the time for the question answer session. So if so, and first of all, before going into the question answer session, I would like to ask you whether this entire lecture or whether this process or whatever I just suggested or just taught you, is it making any sense to you, or did you get anything from it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So now this is the time for question answer session. If you have any query, any question, you can ask me. I'll be happy to give you answers to you.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah. Please ask.
You told me that if we want to work on a plant in some foreign nation, we have to take permission from the biodiversity authority.
Right.
But if we want to take the extracts, plant extract that is extracted with the organic solvents, and we want to study the extracts in the foreign nation, then is this that permission is compulsory, or it can be the study can be carried out without the permission?
See, if you are taking this sample from this land, then obviously you have to contact the authority, because that content, for example, if you are extracting something and that something is coming from that plant, right? So in that case, that plant is a property of the government, right? It is the property of that area. So in that case, you must tell the authorities that I am going to work on this plant somewhere apart from or outside India, but we are working on this plant which is present in India, or we are collecting from India. It is
Okay.
also quite possible that the plant may be available in some other country as well. But if that specimen is going from India, then definitely they you or the researcher should contact the authority and to ask them for the permission, right? Because it is, after all, it is the matter of IPR. It is the matter of intellectual property. Because whenever you will see, after you, for example, if you are done with your research and if you have published something, and if you have published a very good paper, you have find out some very interesting thing. But when you will say and when you will write in your paper, in your research article, that you have collected this plant from this region of India and you have worked on in this laboratory outside India, then obviously I'm telling you that the people from India, they are keeping an eye on everything. Okay, then in that case, if you will not acknowledge or if you will not ask them, then definitely they will contact you and they will ask you that from where and when did you collect this plant. Getting my point?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I wrote this question in the chat box too. That has it happened to anyone that they took a plant for their herbarium and misidentified it, and then it came out to be a completely new or different species?
Mhm. uh, so your question is, what will happen if that plant is misidentified?
Yes.
So in that case, see, when I'm saying that we usually submit a copy of our specimen collection to a herbarium, right? In that case, the people who are there or the in charge of that herbarium, they will see your specimen. They will see, because when they will enter the information in their record. So whenever you are submitting any specimen to any herbarium, they will record each and every details of your specimen in their record, that this specimen was collected by this particular person and submitted to this herbarium by this person on this date, and this specimen is having these details, right? So the first step is either if they correctly identify the plant and they find out the correction, then they will suggest you that okay, you can rename this plant because this is not that plant. Okay, first thing. Second thing, if you have misidentified it and placed it in the herbarium, then whosoever will come next to study that plant, that specimen, and if they detect they detect this mistake, and they, then in that case they will mount a label on that specimen that this specimen is this according to me. Okay, or whosoever be the researcher or whosoever be the person who is looking for that specimen, right?
Yes, sir. And sir, has any new species been discovered in this way? No.
Could you please repeat your question once again?
Sir, my question is, has any new species been discovered in this way?
Okay, so if you are discover, so for example, if you are getting a new species, then obviously you can report it. You will report it in the form of a research paper, right? So when you will discuss about the characters of that species and its associated or related species, then in that comparison you will discuss the details or ideas, and then in that paper at the end you will acknowledge you will acknowledge your department or your teacher or the funding agency or the department of arts if they have helped you. So whosoever has helped you, you can simply acknowledge them. As I told you, it is not necessary to take permission from everywhere from NBA. You will. It is necessary to take permission from reserved areas or protected areas. Okay. So if, for example, if you are getting any sample, if you are getting any plant somewhere randomly in a non-protected area, then obviously you can collect it, you can make a herbarium out of it, and you can publish if there is if there is anything which is new, you can publish it without even asking the NBA. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
you told about inner line permit.
Yes.
Sir, why only those 5 states have inner line permit and not other states?
See, there are different things. So there is a history of inner line permit as well. So see, this is to protect the culture and integrity and okay of that region, and to protect all these things, they have implemented inner line permit. So that is why, because people has demanded. For example, this is very recently, people of Manipur, they demanded inner line permit in that area. So government has provided inner line permit. Right?
Yes, sir.
Anyone?
Sir,
Yes.
if we, take that, present in somewhere in the forest, we, mix components like chemicals and
Uh,
ligands. So can
your
we get
voice
patent
is
for that?
breaking. I can't get you. Your voice is breaking.
Hello, sir, can
Yes.
you, hello?
Yes. Yes. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying that, we extracted our extract from, forest and all from some plants, and
Mhm.
then we, mix it with other components like chemicals and all, and made some drug. So can we get patent for the drug or process or something?
See, there is one thing. If you have used any traditional knowledge, right? If that plant has already in use by tribes or by locals of that area, and that plant is used as a traditional knowledge in their traditions, then you must go through the rules and guidelines of traditional knowledge digital library. According to those rules, you cannot get patent on anything which is in practice since time immemorial or since very long. Okay, and if that is not in practice, and you have discovered or you have designed a new drug, and it is novel, obviously no, new means novel, then you can apply for it, apply the patent for it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, 338 Nisa has written that she's from Calcutta and we have been to CNH from our college. That's very great. that you have visited CNH. Very good. I'm just reading the chat, and meanwhile, if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. Shubhangi has written 483. Shubhangi has written, we need permission to get entry for doing research on flora. You need permission. So I don't know what she is actually asking, but let me tell you both the things. You need permission to get entry into a state, that is called inner line permit. And if you want to do some research on any plant or any flora, because we are dealing with flora, we are dealing with plants. So if you want to do any research and if you want to collect any plant specimen for that from that region, then definitely you have to take permission. You have to inform the forest department. Okay, you will get a permission letter from them. Only then you can collect the specimens. Otherwise, I'm telling you, all those regions where inner line permit is in implementation. And apart from that, if there are many areas, for example, because once I was in Sikkim in some 2014 or 15, and at that time, I was not having permission to collect a particular plant. I was having permission to see plants, to visit that area, to click the pictures, to click the photographs, but not to collect the specimen. At that time, I was just looking at the plant and I was just holding that plant. And some aware citizen, he came to me and he asked me, why you are touching this plant? Do you have the permission? So it is very important to have permission because everybody these days is very much aware about their local flora. Okay, so that is why we always suggest that we should take permission. We should have permission. So somebody has written 423. Sakshi has written, what if the flora is ephemeral or disappears before getting permission? See, when you are looking for something and when you know about your plant that that plant will stop flowering or it will disappear after some time, then obviously you will apply. See, we usually, okay, I forgot to tell you that we usually plan around 4 months before the actual time of time of leaving the city of before actual time of exploration. We usually plan these things 4 months in advance because you have to make arrangements. You have to take reservation for your train travel. You have to take permission from the authorities, from the forest department, and it takes time. So you already plan these things in around 4 months in advance. Okay. So, and when you know about your plant, the season when it will disappear, then accordingly you will apply for it. Okay. Yes, Nisa, it has happened. The question which you asked is it is quite it is common with people who are not experts in identification, and because I let me tell you that sometimes it happens that some species, some specimens, they look similar in their some major morphology, but you have to look for the micro morphology. Sometimes you have to look for other characters as well. You simply cannot identify a plant on the basis of its leaf size and shape, right? So we have to look for other characters, their arrangement, that how they are, what is their arrangement, and how many stamens are there, or the floral or the reproductive characters are. So you have to look for other characters as well to actually identify this species. It happens. It happens with people. They usually sometimes they misidentify species. It's quite common. Uh, Okay, so we have people. Is there any limitation on quantity of the species that one might need to take from any space? Yes, yes, yes. So Kirti has asked this question, Kirti 259. She has asked that is there any limitation on quantity of the species that one might need to take from any place? Yes. If that plant is comes under RET category, as I was telling, if it is comes under rare, endangered, and threatened category, or the plant of special emphasis, then obviously you are allowed only to take few samples and not much, because that plant is already endangered. Sometimes the first official, they don't even give you permission to collect those special plants. Okay, and for common plants, yes, there is limitation. You can so if the plant is of least concern in that area, you can take maximum 10 twigs and not more than that, and that is only for the plant which is least concern in that area. And Jugashri has visited BSI Shillong. Very good, Jugashri. That's very good. Shillong is Assam, Meghalaya. So I have visited BSI Shillong around 6 to 7 times. Very, very good. So if an individual without any support from education should can ask for permission. So I think we have taken this question that they have asked for permission to visit a reserved area with the particular species. Reason being just out of interest. Yes, yes, you can apply. Very good, Himadri. I appreciate that you visited CNH twice. Okay, Govardhan is also there. He has also visited CNH and AJC Bose Botanical Garden during our college excursion. That's great. I'm glad to read all these chats that you people are quite aware and you are quite enthusiastic and you are traveling and you are looking for gardens and herbarium. That is quite good.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, is the procedure of publishing new species of plant has been changed, or uh, anything has been changed regarding publishing of new species of plant? Like we have studied in our books the rules, and the Botanical Congress has happened at least many times ago. So anything change has happened regarding publishing new species of plant?
Yes. So see, when we discuss about IBC or the International Botanical Congress, which so it happens after 6 years, right? So last time it was happening in 2017 in Melbourne, and the next Congress will be going to happen in Tokyo, I guess. Okay, so in this Congress, people or the scientists, they gather and they discuss the problems, and according to this, see, so every day we are exploring, we are discovering new species. And sometimes it happens that according to what the classification we are following, that new species or that specimen which we have collected as new, and if it is not fulfilling the criteria, then obviously we'll have to make some other arrangements for that specimen. Either we have to make another order or the genus, or okay. So in that case, obviously we have to change things. Sometimes it happens that we also go into the history, we look for Linnaeus species plantarum or genera plantarum or some other literature. And if there is any problem, see, I'm telling you, this is not only that we are discovering new species, but it is also that we are going into the past, we are scanning and we are confirming the literature which has been written by, whether it has been written by Gamble or Linnaeus or Roxburgh or any other or any other great botanist. So every time we look for species, and yes, it happens that we have to change rules sometimes, and that is why we always get an update. So currently we are following ICN rules, okay, of 2017. So every time we get the new rule book, which is known as the code or the nomenclature, the code of nomenclature, right? So every after 7 years, we get a new handbook of codes. So and in that Congress, if something has changed, some people have agreed on something to change that rule, then yes, it changes, and people, and then the new book will be published after 1 year of that Congress, and then that and those rules will be followed around the globe uniformly.
Okay, sir.
Is Delhi Botanical Garden also listed in National Botanical Research Regions? So, which Delhi Botanical Garden are you talking about? So, the nearest major botanical garden regulated by Ministry of Environment and Forest is the Botanical Garden of Indian Republic, BGIR, which is in Noida, uh, in this NCR region, and that BGIR or Botanical Garden of Indian Republic is maintained and regulated by Ministry of Environment and Forest, and the agency is Botanical Survey of India. So this is a national botanical garden, and it is conducting some research as well. Okay, there is one interesting question from Orvashi 513. If there is a plant in the ocean within 5 nautical miles from Lakshadweep, do we still need an inner line permit? See, so when it comes to the waters, we have some rules. Okay, for example, Lakshadweep is a part of India, right? And if we are talking about this location beyond the last island of Lakshadweep, yes, because when you will, so somewhere you will make a base, right? And on that base station, you will enter, and when you will entering that base station, see, base station means any place on those islands. Okay, any place on those islands, you will, if you enter, if you will be there, then obviously you will have to show the inner line permit. It is not simply so I don't think you will simply go to that place via waterways and then you will collect it from the from your ship or whatever it is. You will dive and you will collect that plant, and then you will bring it, and you will simply back to your place before even touching the island, before even going to that place. So we have postcards, we have people who are regularly keeping an eye on those islands. So in that case, obviously, you will be asked to have inline permit. No, Chaya Devi has asked a question: if a person took permission for research, is it valid for lifetime? No, it is for a particular time frame. Usually, they permit you for 7 days, and that permission can be renewed after every 7 days by the local forest department of that state from where you have taken that permission. Bhupen has asked 413S. Bhupen has asked, we may request for identification of small plants like herbs, but if we want to study on bigger plants like neem, how should we? You can simply proceed like this only. So there is no another, and there is no any new format for this. Identification is identification of all the plants, whether it is herb, shrub, or tree, right? So you can simply go. So if you want to ask me a question like how to identify a tree species or shrub, then obviously for identification you need some characters, and those characters are actually the combination of reproductive characters, the morphological characters, and all these the basic characters which you use in herbs. The same characters will be used for the trees or the shrub. Okay. So Abhilasha has asked a question 653 that how long can we preserve this specimen once we transferred it to 70% alcohol? You can preserve them life till you have that specimen, till you have the alcohol in that. You can preserve it till as you wish. And even for example, you see, I am preserving my samples which I have collected in 2014, and from past 7 years they are with me in 70% alcohol. They are just as it is. Nothing has changed. If any individual without any support from educational institute can ask for permission to visit reserved area to collect the particular species, reason being just for out of interest. I think we have already discussed this question, that yes, you can, but you have to write the reason for collecting that plant in that form. Only if that, okay, you have already mentioned the reserved area. So is there any government supportive program for? Yes, taxonomy excursion. So I have this very interesting question because I have explored almost all entire India in past 7 years with the help of government supportive programs. So basically, Abhirami has asked a question 112 that is there any government supportive program for taxonomy excursion? So simply either you can work for government, if you can work for Botanical Survey of India, or so in this type of projects or in this type of services, you can have many taxonomic excursion. For example, Government of India and Ministry of Environment and Forest and Botanical Survey of India, they regularly, uh, uh, they simply ask for people who have interest in some plant biology or taxonomy, and if they would like to work on any project, so they release some vacancies as a project staff or project fellows or research fellows sometimes. And in that, obviously, you can use those opportunities to learn and to enhance your knowledge of taxonomy. You can go for taxonomic expression as well. Okay, so Nisa has asked a question that we hear frequently that measures are being taken to protect the endangered or vulnerable species. Are the scientists and the community doing enough? It's saddening to lose species day by day. I totally agree with you, Nisa, that it is very sad to hear that every day we are losing so many species. But yes, people are doing, they are working, they are actually trying hard. So as I suggested you that why I'm suggesting you to follow the ethics, why I'm suggesting you to follow the rules, so that we can support these programs and we can help in preservation and conservation of these species by following the rules. And you know why these rules has been made? These rules has been made just to protect the environment, right? And if everybody will follow the rules, then definitely we can help, we can preserve, and we can actually conserve these species. And yes, there are people who are working in this field, and I personally know a lot of people, a lot of scientists from different national agencies who are actually working on the conservation of endangered and threatened and vulnerable species. Okay, because sometime I was also part of that program, and I have also, I have literally I have explored lots of forest in search of those vulnerable species. And then when we found those species, we tried to to conserve those species with the help of tissue culture. We tried with the help of seeds. We have collected these seeds. We tried to germinate those seeds with different techniques. So yes, people and scientists, we all are working in this area. We are working to protect all these species, all these plants. Is making a herbarium necessary in case of range extension or new record for a location, or are good macro photographs enough? What do you recommend? See, if that area, Sakshi has asked this very beautiful question 423. Sakshi, if that area has only limited specimens, then I will suggest to take pictures instead of collecting that plant. Because if you will pluck that plant, and for example, and let's say if that plant won't, if the seeds are, if that plant is not able to make seeds enough, then obviously how you can expect that plant to survive in that region? Okay, so in that case, my recommendation is to have very good photographs. You can take macro photographs. That's my opinion, my recommendation, because it is a new record for that location. Uh, so 597N Khachuk has asked, following your answer from the rule changing topic, if that is the case, then there might be some alternation to already published work in taxonomy of already identified floras, etc. If we are doing the change frequently, where is that question? Isn't it? Where is that question? Okay, isn't that quite inefficient? See and Khachuk. So the thing is, when we change any rule, or when we not change, but when even if we modify a rule, or even if we we give some alternative, then in that case, or the scientists, if you have ever gone through any code of nomenclature, they mention the years, or they especially mention the range, that from how long and from where we can consider these things. Okay, so there is a time range, and many times they mention the time range. Okay. Okay, so Naveen has asked, okay, it is a direct message though, but So Naveen, if there will be any training program we will organize, then we will definitely let you know. Okay. What happens if we discover any plant which has already been discovered? Then simply you will report it. Okay, that I have also collected. Then you will not say that I have discovered, but you will say either you have reported that plant from that region or you have collected that plant from that region. Simply. Okay, Sanskriti. In collection of flower specimen, some flowers wilt soon after some time. What is the possible protocol to overcome this problem? So, see, that is why I'm saying I suggested you to use formaldehyde. Formaldehyde will keep that those parts intact there in as it is. They will preserve it. Okay, in that form only. They will not shed. And you can simply you can even put you can even preserve these flowers in formaldehyde or the simply the FAA solution for 24 hours, followed by you can transfer them to 70% alcohol. And if you would like to dissect out that flower in future, then you can easily do that. You can easily identify or you can easily explore the characters of that plant with the help of with that preserved specimen. Okay, which you preserved in 70% alcohol. Uh, okay, I have discussed all these questions. So, okay, we are done with the question session from the chat session. Thank you so much, guys, for participating and enthusiastically participating in the question answer session as well. Even and still, if you have any question, you can always write to me. Uh, I'm simply writing my email ID. If you have any doubt relating to any species identification or with anything related to it, you can simply email me. I will try to help you as much as I can. Okay. Sometimes it may take some time to respond. Okay, because you know that we also busy somewhere every time. So I have just shared my email ID. If you have any question, any query related to anything in this section, you can simply ask me. So here I am thankful to all of you that you participated and we discussed things, certain things here. Thank you so much. So now we are ending this session here, and tomorrow you will have a session on herbarium preparation by Dr. Vijay Kumar. Enjoy that session, and then we will meet again uh, after that day. And okay, okay, take care, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
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 Pleasure, my pleasure, Bachu. Take care.